Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Iolande Argent Show. Coming up in just a few moments will be my guest for today. That's Miss Briana Cavanaugh. We're going to be talking about our favorite topics: money, how to save it, how to find it, how to keep it, how to make it grow. Keep it here.
Realized is that the thing that was really missing with my clients is that they really hated dealing with their money, like really hated dealing with it. Like it made them uncomfortable, unhappy. They had all kinds of emotions and worry and stuff about it. And I just don't want it to be that way because that sucks. So, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but it sucks. So I wanted to just find a different way. And I have been working on that for the last few years. And this year, I guess the last year or so, I took on a project that I've been calling the Pleasure Project, which is all about how to have more pleasure, more bliss, more happiness in your life in an ongoing way. And eventually it became so much a part of my work that we rebranded into a company called Bliss Your Money. So I believe that that not that money is the key to happiness, but that happiness is the key to money. That the happier you are and the easier you intend your life to be, the easier money happens to you. So that's the short version of it.
That makes sense. Well, the funny part is people, depending upon how you were brought up with money or to view money, that's, I think, where a lot of the emotions come into it, because if you weren't brought up to know how to use money correctly, you're always upset about money. It's like the end all be got to your existence. And then people who are brought up with money couldn't care less one way or the other.
Right. It's just not something that's in their kind of worldview. I actually was just having a conversation with someone who is struggling with money for the first time in his life. He's always had, plenty of money. And it's interesting to watch him. He was like, I don't even know what to do or how to organize it, because I've always had plenty of it. And he's just like, I've never really had to deal with money. And so he's been, this person who normally I think of as like a kind of a bright light has been worried for, months now about money.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's interesting when you watch people kind of understand that, when you come over to the other side of the fence, you will realize now why these people act this way when it comes to money. Because, well, first of all, most people don't really ever learn how to manage money. It's not something that's generally taught in school. Why? That's right. I don't know, especially if you're talking a capitalist society like the United States. How is it that you go out of your way to not teach money, even basics about money?
I know they don't teach how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach how to write a check or pay bills or like budgeting. I mean, it seems like even just budgeting or projections or something should be taught in some math class somewhere.
Yeah, you were thinking like starting off in at least grade school with the basics. This is how you manage money. I mean, we're not talking getting all in depth on how to pay taxes. I mean, that can be later, but just something simple so kids are exposed to. This is how you write a check. This is why you keep so much money in, and this is that sort of thing. Because it's the basics that get people into trouble. That hand-to-mouth thing. Because if you don't know and you start spending and then suddenly you don't have enough. Or you don't know how to manage it,
Right. One of the things, so I have a son who's 18, and a couple years ago we got him a bank account. And one of the things I said to him is, before I'll give you more money, you have to track, write down the money that you have been spending so that you're really clear about where it goes. So I've been trying to get him into this habit of just, consistently writing everything down so that he doesn't call me and say, hey, do you know how much money is in my bank account? It's like, well, you figure out how much money is in your bank account. This is a really important beginning skill, is to make sure that you know what's going on with your money all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a coworker, his parents started him off at the age of 8 with one of those little pay credit cards. And trust me, if there's anybody who knows more about money, it's definitely him. He's one of those kids who had like the, quadruple A credit rating before he graduated high school, and he's still really good with money. So
nice.
As you can see, the secretary cat just had to get in here on this conversation. Really?
Yeah. I actually just locked mine out because he was all over the place before I started with you, and so I thought, not today. Some days, he'll just chill and sit next to me, but today he's been all over. So
yeah, they get like that. Yeah, he just got let back in the house.
Yeah. I love
he's in here. So with the new program that you're working on that you're about to launch, what's that all about? Or is that a top secret?
So I have been developing a body. Is that what?
Or is that top secret? Should we not talk about it yet?
No. It is now widely known, or hopefully any minute it'll be widely known. So I'm doing a class called 100 Days of Profitability with Pleasure. And it's all about, right now, if folks decided to come and play with us, it means that they could get profitable before the end of the year. So it starts next week and ends the middle of December. So it's like the kind of the last push of the year to try to get all of this stuff handled, so that folks don't end up, the beginning of the year with their mess. And the idea is, it's not just about, tracking their money as kind of a basic, almost like a prerequisite to come into this class. This class talks about what profitability is and what it isn't, the numbers that you need to track, the numbers that you need to know, and how to modify those numbers so that you go from being underwater to being profitable. So I put together some formulas, percentages that really, if you hit these certain percentages, you'll be able to do things like pay yourself and make sure all of your bills are paid and all of that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So, like I said, my body of work is around bliss and pleasure. So how to do that and how to make it pleasurable. So it's not just, here's a series of spreadsheets that you should fill out, because while that's important, most people, it doesn't matter how many spreadsheets I give them, they're not into it, right? They'll do a little bit. So we have to figure out how to make it accessible for people so that they can really get into tracking their money. So
cool. You're going to create a little app or something like that? Yes.
Well, the content is all in. We have a client portal that people can log on to, and they can access it from their phones or whatever. An app seems, it's like, oh, that's
well, you know how folks are about their apps. People, there was actually a study going, well, apps are over with and done. I'm like, I don't know on whose planet you live.
Yeah.
Claim an app in a quick second.
Yes.
So that maybe next year. If it launches really well, you might want to get an app next year.
Yeah.
The Bliss Your Money app.
I've thought about what it would, like a little bit of what it would take and where I'd need to be. But I'm sort of really in the beginning of thinking about those pieces, and what I would want to have, because there are some other apps that are pretty great for tracking your money. So I would want it to include the budgets and the projections and the like profitability percentages being integrated and, all of that kind of stuff.
All of that. Yeah.
And
okay.
That's complicated.
Well, stuff on the back burner just to think about.
Yeah.
But so
little projects in the background.
We all have them. So is the new project for businesses only, or is it also for individuals?
It focuses mostly on businesses. Most individuals, if you have a regular kind of 9-to-5 job, it's hard to look at profitability because, and I'll tell you why. What happens is by the time people are looking at their money, they've usually looked at how they can decrease their expenses, which is the first step. And then the second step is really looking at how you can increase your income. And for entrepreneurs, it's pretty easy. If you increase your marketing and you know where to focus, you can readily increase your income by doing things like streamlining processes and stuff that we talk about. But it's much harder for someone who has a regular 9-to-5 job to increase their income without getting a new job, right? Which is kind of a different process. And so sometimes I work with individuals, but mostly I work with business owners because their capacity for wealth is much greater than someone who works a regular 9-to-5 job.
Right. Right. Which is why we tell the 9-to-5 job people they should start their own little side business so that they can also enjoy the benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of entrepreneurial drive. I could not do my work without the people who work for me. So, people who have jobs, that's important stuff. But the capacity is a little bit different, for earning income. And the other thing I've realized about that is some people are really not entrepreneurs, right? And we need those people, right? I need people to help me with my business. I need to be able to hire bookkeepers to work for my clients and who want to do that kind of training stuff. So I have not everybody has to or is in a place to be an entrepreneur. So I want to put that out there too. But we primarily work with entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so now this is just the last part of the year. What happens at the beginning of the year? So is it like a 2-part thing? Like you have one that goes from January to June, and then you have the last one that picks up September to December. How does that work?
That's a good question. So usually what I do is in January, I run a class called Financial Clarity Now, which is really, it's a small get started. It's a month-long class that helps people really get started with money. Because folks are often just kind of all over the place in January. And, because I run a bookkeeping firm, it's a little harder to run a longer class starting in January, but that's when the call really is for doing classes and stuff around money starts in January. So I run another class called Financial Clarity Now. And I've been thinking of turning this whole process into a bigger, longer class. I've run bigger, longer classes. I've been looking at doing a year-long class. Actually, I was just working on it today called the Financial Bliss Blueprint, and putting all of the work together, the profitability and the financial clarity and the money tracking pieces, and the emotional side and the mindset stuff to give folks a year-long experience. And it really is what I do privately with people is I take them deep into the individual stuff that they're working on in their financial life. Because some of that stuff you really can't do in a class. Some of the mindset stuff it's really very specific to your brain and your history and your trauma and stuff like that. Some things we can really do in a group, but there's a fair amount that requires kind of going deep into whatever it is that, terrible things or difficult things or just things that have happened, right? We just build up these stories over time about what has happened. Actually, a good metaphor, this is slightly off topic of the question that you asked, but I've been thinking of this metaphor a lot lately of, when we look at physical pain, you get a cut on your hand or you step on a nail or, something happens, you burn your hand, you take care of it right away. You go get the stitches on your foot or you run cold water over that burn. Like you take some action on it right away. But when it's emotional stuff, when it's emotional pain, often we wait, we kind of let it go until some kind of crisis happens, And so I've been thinking about what does it take to support people in getting that help, especially around money right away, instead of waiting until it's a giant, process. So I've started a conversation with folks around, how do we talk to kids about money or young people, about money? Because I think that's really, we need to be starting this work early rather than, people in their 40s and 50s and 60s feeling like, I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to retire. And, that's an important question. But if you got the money training when you were younger, how much different would it be for you now? Right.
True. True. Because, a lot of people still get the training of, the deal, go to school, get the good grades so you can get into college, so you can get the degree, so you can get the job, and that's it. There's your process right there. Nothing about, you do realize that you're never going to have enough money to retire on if you work for somebody else. They don't tell you that little caveat. They just tell you that you spend all this time and you're hoping you get a pension. What they forgot to tell you is most companies nowadays don't provide pensions. They don't tell you any of that. They don't tell you the first thing about what you need to do to survive.
Right.
And you're right. If you start the conversation sooner rather than later, it would be so much simpler and easier for people to transition or even have that. They may, like you said, we need our workers. You got to have that. But they may be also having, I don't know, maybe they want to, have a little homemade soap or something that they sell on the weekends, or, have their own little something that they can do to make a little extra. And then they would understand.
Yes. I also think that we would be really well served to pay people a living wage, people who work for us, to pay them enough money that they can live on it, that they, if they can be putting money away, that, that it isn't that people are making enough money that when, if they work for this wage all their life, they get to the end and they've saved enough between, their savings and Social Security, they live, a good life. And that seems like a much better plan for, like, one of the things that I come up against with entrepreneurs is that we have a tendency to work, just kind of work and work and work and work and work. And I think it's too much. I think in general, we work too much. And if we can find a way to work a little less, like earn a little more and work a little less, our lives get a lot better, So that's what I'm about in terms of, especially in terms of entrepreneurs. It's like, if you can figure out how to leverage your time and focus on your development of your ideas and your marketing, you can take kind of a deeper dive into life,
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been thinking about this a lot, having hit, I look at these different financial goals. Having hit 6 figures and all of this, it's like, okay, so the people talk about kind of the end all be all is like, you get to 6 figures, you get to multiple 6 figures, you get to $1 million. And it's like, well, does that really make you happy? Is that really the thing that you're looking for? And if you take your eyes off the dollars, if you said, so many people, if you ask them, what is it that if you had plenty of money, what would you do, right? A lot of them say, I'd buy a house and I'd give a bunch of it away. And then, I'd spend my life going on vacations or traveling around the world or, volunteering in my community. And, I don't know anybody who said, and then I would screw over the poor people. And then I would go back, every once in a while somebody says, I would go back and tell my boss to, various things.
Take that leap off that short pier kind of thing.
But aside from that, people don't, once they have enough, they don't stand around being mean to each other,
I think it actually depends on who has enough, because it depends on, it comes back to that personality. It comes back to their emotional attachment, because the funniest thing, like when people win the lottery, they're usually broke within months after winning the lottery, because they don't have a clue as to what to do with that money. They don't know how to make the money work for them, because they're still operating from that sense of emptiness, which is what they've taught. If you have money, you buy stuff to fill up that emptiness inside of you, instead of learning, well, gee, maybe you might want to figure out where the emptiness came from, because it sure as heck had nothing to do with money. Just because you see somebody driving around in a Lamborghini, that's cute. It's a fiberglass car. So what? They live in a big house and they pay for everybody in their life. Now, if that's happiness to you, then that's fine. But you need to sit down and realize everything that person has, I guarantee you, has a price tag associated with it, whether it's the friends that they so-called have, whether it's their, piece of eye candy they got roaming on the arm over there, whether it's their lovely home, everything on them has a price tag. Then if you ask that same person if they were happy and they were honest about it, they would tell you no, because they spend the majority of their time looking over their shoulder because everything in their life is paid to be there. They probably don't have one thing in their life that's not taking a piece of their money.
Yeah.
So, and that's, and nobody ever thinks to ask them that. They just see the outside shell. And it's like, I'm sorry, there's a human being under that shell. You might want to ask them whether or not they were happy.
Right. And what is happiness?
Right.
What is it that makes you really happy? Because if you don't know that where you are now, making a bunch of money is not going to help you figure out what makes you happy.
No. I remember there was an interview years ago with a young man who started Zappos, the website where people bought all the stuff, shoes and stuff. And he says, the first thing I did, got that big paycheck, I went out and I think he bought a Ferrari. And it was funny because it was like, and I guarantee you gave it back too, because you could tell from the way he was speaking, that was not, he just did it because that was what he always saw. And it took less than 6 months to figure out, okay, everybody that's in my face right now is only there because they see the car, they know I have money. He got rid of the car. Last time he talked, he was in a Honda. The kid got a some sort of little Honda 4-door sedan, and he bought his mom her house and all of that. But he was like, "Oh no, I have a Honda. I got rid of the Ferrari. I got a Honda." But it was so true. He even figured it out very quickly. Everybody that's around me now is there because of the money. So I'm going to spend the rest of my life paying for these people to be in my life. It's like, that's what you want. Yeah, fine. But then,
sure, you want that if that's what you want. But
but that's a whole nother issue on self-esteem. We're right back to, if you feel the need that you have to pay people to be in your life, that's a self-esteem issue.
It totally is. Yeah, gosh, it really is. The connection between, in fact, there's a book by a woman that I used to work with called From Self-Worth to Net Worth. Her name's Belinda Rosenblum. It's one of the people who has pointed out that, and there are bunches of them that pointed out that how you feel about yourself is often reflected in what's going on around you. You know, it's often reflected in your work. It's often reflected in your money. It's reflected in your relationships, you know, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, you know, watching that is an interesting pattern. So when I think about people like winning the lottery or getting the big payout, it's like, well, what would you do with it? You know, and if that's really what you want, what is it about that you want? You know, is it that you want the freedom? Is it that you want the time? Is it, you know, getting clear about what it is that you really want actually means that you can have more of it now, right? So if what you want is time, you know, and you're somebody who works full time, how can you leverage that to work maybe 3/4 time and have a day off? Or, you know, one of the things that I've done is that I decided that's what I wanted was time freedom. And so I work no more than 4 days a week usually. Except on weeks that I'm launching.
Well, you know, launch is different.
Yeah. But typically I work 4 days a week. And, you know, I've been doing a lot of healing from chronic illness. So working 4 days a week is one of the things that's really important to me. I know people that what they really want is they want to live in a big house, you know, in a particular place. They want that sense of spaciousness. And, you know, the thing is, any of those things you can have. I mean, I certainly, you know, I knew people who grew up feeling like they had lots of space, but they didn't necessarily have lots of dollars. So I feel like pretty much we can figure out how to have the things we want if we know what it is that is. And the truth is, even though I work with money, the truth is that's almost never dollars. What people really want is they want to feel loved. They want a sense of spaciousness. They want freedom. They want security. They want sex, right? But what almost nobody says when I say, what do you really want? When we get down to it, they want things like money and time and vacations and experiences and, you know, and family and children, stuff like that. And that's all stuff that you can have with or without money.
Right. Now, my personal favorite is, okay, for those of you who tell that story about you want vacations, Americans are the most hardworking people on the planet. They don't take vacations.
Right.
Everybody else gets 6 weeks off of vacation, and you yourself, you know how it is. Have you ever worked for a company and had somebody take vacation and actually had them take vacation? And where they weren't calling back in and asking a whole bunch, what's going on in my email, blah, blah. You're like, really? Aren't you off? Why are you calling?
Right.
Yeah. Americans don't take vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not trained how to rest. We're trained to go, 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 go. So I think it's really, really good for us to just take some time. And in fact, I was just telling a client yesterday, I said, she's like, oh, I'm so stressed out. I don't know what to do. I have to blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I want you to take a week off. And she was like, what? Oh my God, I don't know what I would do. And I was like, yeah, you've been so stressed and you're not sleeping and you're not taking care of yourself. And we know that your rent is paid this month and next month. So get out, go to the hot springs, go stay with a friend in a different city. I don't care, make it free. You can go stay, I'm sure you can find a friend to call up and say, Kate, can I come stay in your spare room or sleep on your couch for a week? So that you can just get a sense of being away and feeling better. And it's, it instantly helps to calm you when you just get some space,
Yeah.
have that. We call it a pattern interrupt, right? Stop doing the things that you've been doing that are like overwhelming and exhausting you and just chill.
Yeah. But then again, like you said, like along with money, it's another learned behavior. Some people, they have no problem with taking time off. I am one of those. Have passport, will travel. Don't call me. As a matter of fact, if you call me, I'm going to be angry. So it better be a really good reason. If I'm on vacation, don't call me. But I will do it in a minute. But I have other people that's like, why are you calling? Wait, it's the holiday. Why are you here? Why are you calling? Go home.
Go home. Rest. I think my experience is that when I first started taking vacations, which was after I stopped working for corporate America, it took me several days on a vacation before I could rest. I had to be kind of going all the time. Yeah. And it took somewhere between 3 and 5 days before I would finally get to the place where I was like, then I could chill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's a kind of an adrenal response patterning that has us continue to go. And if we don't stop that, it's really easy for us to kind of run ourselves into the ground.
Yeah, definitely. When we're not busy doing that, my vacations usually consist of walk in the room, throw everything down, lock the door, and go to sleep. Because it's one of the few times that you actually get some rest, where your brain is not going, oh, I got to do this at this, and I got to do this meeting, and there is nothing funnier. You are overworked when you pick up your phone and you answer your home phone the same way you do when you're at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the people on the other end are cracking up at you like, didn't I just call your home? Yeah. Okay. But people do it all the time. Yeah.
I am so totally ready for our launch is getting going and it's like, oh, several days in, right? All of this work. Okay, great. It's time I would like a rest now. Yeah. Rest.
So when is the launch?
So it's happening. It just started yesterday, and the class starts on the 20th or something. But the thing that, let's have some real talk about how to grow a business, right? Mm-hmm. So at some point, what I discovered is I have a full practice, right? I've been seeing clients, in this case, I was seeing bookkeeping clients. I got to a place where I have a full practice. So I started, I hired someone, sent the work out to them. And so then the next job is to figure out how to leverage that, right? And, fill up more people's time and bring in more clients and train them, and, train the folks in my method and like that. Well, the step after that is, some version of teaching, either teaching your method or teaching classes, right? And the interesting thing when you get to this stage is you also start doing this thing that's about list building, building your email list. So whether or not we're launching a class, this is the new phase of our business, is bringing people in and, teaching them about our method and teaching them about bookkeeping, and helping them, whether or not they're actually clients of ours, get pieces of information all along the way. And learning that I can just give stuff away has been a pretty cool learning. Like, I know all this stuff. And I used to be that my coaches would be like, don't tell them everything. And I'm like, but I want to tell them everything so they can do it all themselves. And so list building has been this really great phase because I get to send all my worksheets that I make, or, all of this stuff out to people so that they can be trying it out. And, it's not the same as working with me, but, it's nice to be able to just say, hey, here's this worksheet that I created. Try it out. See what you think. And that is all to say, if folks want to, I'm kind of going on and on about all this money bliss stuff. I recommend checking out this thing that I wrote called the 6 Money Hacks. And it's my 6 favorite money hacks, including the first one is all about pleasure and how to have more pleasure in your life, which of course is a big deal to me. So, and you can get that at blissyourmoney.com/6-profitability-hacks. Yeah. So especially if you want to take a dive into pleasure, you want more of that with or without more money. Mm-hmm. It's pretty awesome.
I also noticed you have the 77 money leaks and how to fix them.
Yes. On the front page of our website, blissyourmoney.com, 77 money leaks and how to fix them right now. Mm-hmm. And those are, so those are super, like, if you haven't doing anything about money at all, and you're like, you spend a lot of time worrying, that's a great place to start, is the 77 money hacks, because the 77 money leaks goes through a list of the most common money leaks that I've been working with my clients on. So it's all of those little things like, have you gone through your statement and seen any of those recurring charges that you're not using anymore? That's a big one. Do you have Netflix and Hulu and, cable, and are you using all of those things? Because how much TV do you really watch, right? But there are lots of little things, $5, $10 a month. If you got rid of one thing that's $10 a month, you'd save yourself $120 a year, right? And do that a couple times, and that's a vacation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that helps to just really look at how you can kind of stop money from leaking out of your life. Right.
Okay, I'm one of those people. I actually have Hulu and Netflix, but I have them for different reasons. Well, because, okay, here we go.
All right.
Hulu, I can actually watch the shows that I would normally watch on network TV without commercials. I love that part. So, yeah, that's going to stay. Netflix is great because they put movies up that, they put the first run movies up, and they will put series on that you can binge watch that are completely different than the ones that go on Hulu.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is why I have both of them. Now, on the other hand, my mother, who has access to my Netflix and the Hulu, she is like the goddess of having television. Why? I don't know. Must be one of those little senior things. They just have to have, Me, I'm happy with internet. I'm happy with my internet and my Hulu and my Netflix, and that's all I need, because that's, you got the Chrome thing, throw it on the television set or whatever monitor I'm watching, I'm good to go. So, yes, definitely I am one of those people don't have a reason to have cable. Internet, yes. Cable, no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that overlapping thing. It's the cable and Netflix and Hulu. Where you're like, okay, so how much TV do you watch, right? Like, what is it you're doing with your life? And there's nothing wrong, I recently I'm taking up watching Scandal. So I watch some TV. I was just thinking about, the redundancy of all of the things that you can, because spending a couple $100 a month on TV is, it's a lot of money to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they get you on those packages, those bundle deals. Yeah. Because at one point when I you're in the Bay Area, and I used to live over there, my bill was $285 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I finally, now I finally have the Netflix and the Hulu, and just with the internet, which of course saves me about $150 a month, because I still have to pay for the phone and the internet because I have business class, so that's a little different. But just normal people, you can get away with, regular internet. If you're not doing shows using the internet like we're doing, then you can get away with it. Maybe $50 a month for both, and then so you're out the door for maybe $80 a month, and you don't have to pay for the rest of it. But
Right.
You're going to get the people who just have to do that, like my mom does. She's just one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah. The important thing is not that you do it. The important thing is that you're clear about your choices. So the money leaks part goes through and looks at all these different places that you could be making choices. Because, maybe you want all of those subscriptions, and that's fine. But if you don't, right, that's when you want to make sure that you're turning things off. So, so it just gives you a list of things that you could potentially be doing to help with money.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I like this. This is so cute. Eating out unexpectedly due to lack of planning. I'd have to change that to eating out unexpectedly due to my not feeling like cooking.
Right. Well, the point about that one was just that, I set aside, and I watched my clients set aside a certain amount of money for eating out, right? And the place where I noticed that so many of my clients go awry is that they were like, oh, well, suddenly I was eating out because this, because that, because the other thing. And so it's fine to eat out, right? It's just, is that part of your budget, right? Is that what you plan to be doing? And so either you want to increase your budget if you're going to do it, right? Or not do it because it's not in the budget. Either one of those choices is fine. But yeah, totally. I have many, many days where I'm like, I don't want to do that whole cooking thing.
Yeah. It's one thing you touched upon something that we should tell business owners, especially when you're networking, because networking always involves food for some unknown reason. And if you're going to spend a lot of time trying to grow your business and you got to do the networking thing, you're going to have to look at incorporating the food into your budget. That's just the bottom. Yeah. And if you're doing that, 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to suddenly look up and discover that at the end of the month, you have spent almost $500 to $1,000, and that's all you were doing.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Right. And the networking events where you're paying for the food as part of your networking event fee, that is, you can include that as part of your networking dollars, right?
Yeah.
Networking where you're buying food separately, you can't really do that. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Yep. But yeah, you really got to plan for that. You really got to plan for your business expenses. And networking, though, especially because networking is how you get clients, is an important part of business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't even really think people touch on that when they talk about, planning for your business. You'll hear advertising. But I have never heard anybody say, oh, you need to sit down and include your networking. Are you going to, who are you seeing this week? How many times do you go out and, network? Which events? Are you going to breakfast events, lunch, dinner? What are you doing? I never hear anybody say that.
Yep, it's important stuff. And most small business owners, especially that are making under a couple $100,000, they're not usually paying for advertising. No. Right? Some of them are paying for Facebook ads when you get a little bit bigger, but mostly people aren't paying for advertising. No. So having that in as a basic business expense doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, I mean, unless, you're trying to advertise in the Yellow Pages or something, whatever it is they have nowadays.
Right. And most of those are either manufacturing firms, like you're making something that you want people to, right? Yeah. Or you have a big business, right? Once you get over a couple $100,000, you're going to do more advertising because you're going to shift your model from being a one-on-one model to you're going to have staff, you're going to have some kind of leveraged model. So, but early on, you're not going to be doing advertising. Or if you are, it's at a very low level. Like you're going to get a table at an event that's $60 or $100 or something, versus like the advertising buys that you get when you're, $500,000 business. You might spend $40,000 on advertising. It's a very different thing. Another thing I've been realizing recently in talking to, I have a bunch of clients at different levels. We have some teeny tiny clients and some kind of $500,000, some $1 million, some, several $1 million clients. And what one of the things that we don't talk about, I don't know if we talked about this the other day, is that as you grow your business, there's different places where you're going to hit that change your business model. And it's one of the things to really keep an eye on as you're growing especially your service-based business, is at what point do you hit capacity in your business model and have to shift your business model to be able to increase your capacity for dollars and staff and all of that kind of stuff. And the thing to know is every time you make one of those shifts, you change the job, your job in the company changes. So, initially you're a service provider and that's kind of what you're doing. And then you hit, and the reason that this is important, like, let me give you some context to what's going on about this. The reason it's important is that I watch people get to 80 or 100K, or they get to 250K, and they kind of fall down. And the reason that they fall down is because you have to make a shift in who you're being in your business, and they often don't get it. And so they hit 100K, then they fall back again. They hit 250, they hit 500, they hit $1 million, and then they kind of fall back again because they're not realizing that they're going to have to upgrade their business model as they go up to these different levels.
Well, that's true. And a lot of people don't even think that far out. They just want to be in business, and okay, fine, I want a little extra. Okay, then, well, how many clients are you taking on? How much extra do you have? And when is it going to dawn on you that you can't be everything?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The earlier that you can get your head around the fact that you're going to have to leverage, the faster you're going to be able to get over the next hump and figure out how to do that. And definitely one of the things that has really helped me is getting different versions of mentoring, right, over time, is figuring out that, this person, getting mentoring from someone who knows how to do that. So I definitely recommend, one of the things that I recommend to business owners is really like figure out who's going to support you and spend a lot of time with them so they can help you get to the next level and the next level and the next level.
That's true. And we should probably touch upon the fact that you do need mentors scale with you. So you don't have to have the same mentor that you started out with. If you've hit a different plateau, it's perfectly fine to get a new mentor.
Yeah.
You understand these.
Yeah. I'm one of those woo-woo. I live in the Bay Area. I'm kind of a woo-woo girl. And I was getting like an energy reading, energy healing from my friend. And she was saying, I'd been working with this mentor who I really love, and she was saying, you're going to have to get a different business mentor. And I was being really sad about it. And she was like, actually, the reason you need a different business mentor is that you're going to want to reach a lot more people, and so I really took that to heart and like, kind of love and blessings and, kind of moving on from different things. And your mentor for your next piece can just be a few steps ahead of you, right? You don't have to get the mentor that is the biggest, most expensive mentor for the thing that you're doing either. You can just look at what's the next thing, because it's easy to find a mentor who is a multi-million-dollar coach, and, they want $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 for, an entry-level kind of mentor-mentee kind of relationship with them in a group program. So, maybe that's not where you want to go for your first, mentorship.
Especially if you can't afford to be paying. I mean, if you're already at the level where you can afford a $20,000 mentoree thing, I'm going to say you might want a mentor that's a little past that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You're not at the beginner stage. So there's that. Same thing with coaches. Same thing with business coaches. The point of a coach is to get you from where you are now to get you to a different point in the future. And it's, mentors are the people that, shepherd you through it to get you there. People don't, it's like everything else. They want to group you all together. It's like, no, different things. A mentor is there to shepherd you and give you advice, and they help you through things. Your coach is there to keep you on your goals.
Right. And kick your butt.
Exactly. And call you up and say, why aren't you doing this?
Yeah, I haven't heard from you. You said you're going to do it by Tuesday. What's happening? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a difference. And so you always want to interview and make sure that person is in alignment with you so they help you grow your business.
That's right.
And that's also money well spent.
Right.
There's nothing worse than having a mentor or a coach, or even if you happen to be a coach out there and you're trying to grow your business, there are ways to figure out whether or not you're dealing with the right person to be coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's time is your money. In that case, then you don't want to waste time because you could be mentoring or coaching somebody else.
Right.
So
there's another thing that I want to say about this, which is that the mentor, so early stage businesses should really look for mentors and coaches that are going to help you set really clear goals and get the information you need to reach the goals yourself. Past a certain point, you do also need mentorship and coaching, but the other thing that you need is to be looking for done-for-you services. Like, early on, you're going to have to run your launch maybe yourself. You want to look at doing your books yourself, but after a certain point, you want to start offloading that kind of stuff. So finding a good bookkeeper or a good bookkeeping firm like us, who can take that over. You have to get really good at kind of self-promotion and just say what you mean. But it applies to every service, right? To get a really great CPA who will do your taxes so you're not trying to do that yourself and spend days and days and days trying to figure out that, and study tax law and, don't do that. Hire somebody who knows, right?
Right.
And every opportunity you have to offload that to someone who really knows, that's a really good opportunity to be able to spend more time doing the things that you are great at and learning about the next level of business so that you can shift. So early on, you'll look at coaches and mentors who really are going to help you get to, to be able to do it yourself, because you're going to have to spend a lot of time early on doing it yourself. And then once you get to a certain level, you're going to want to start looking for how you can offload things so that you can get some done for you support and really dive deep into your level of expertise. So just watch as you go along. You probably should have a couple, it's probably somewhere between 2 and 5 years under your belt before you're going to do a significant amount of done for you stuff. But, as fast as you can kind of get that offloaded to other people, the better off you're going to be.
Very true. Very, very true. And if you happen to be like, you do bookkeeping and you knew that you were going to have to hire bookkeepers because you couldn't keep doing everybody's books. Same thing with me. I do taxes, which means I have to hire bookkeepers or bookkeeping services, and I also have to hire tax professionals. But in each one of those, I already know I can't do everybody's taxes. I'm too busy auditing people. Therefore, I need tax, preparers and such.
Right. It's a version of leveraging. That's exactly right.
Right.
So, and also you do this amazing TV thing, I hear.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, there's that too. So when I'm not auditing people.
we call this shameless self-promotion for those of you playing along at home. It's really one of the skills you have to learn as a business owner is how to just tell people about what you're up to and just be straight up and say, this is what I'm doing and I would love to work with you or I'd love to talk to you about it. Because otherwise you spend a lot of time standing around waiting for somebody to say to you, hey, what do you do? Right? Rather than taking advantage of the opportunity. Yeah.
I get a kick out of that question. What do you do? How much time you got? So let's get we've been talking a lot about your company. Maybe we should put the company information out here so the people will know what we're talking about. Where are we sending them?
Put what up?
Put your company
yeah. blissyourmoney.com. blissyourmoney.com. So B like boy, LISSYOURMONEY.com, blissyourmoney.com. And you can get the 77 money leaks right from the front of there. And if you are really interested in pleasure, you can go for the blissyourmoney.com/6-profitability-hacks and get yourself some pleasure and profitability going on in your life, which I highly recommend.
You can tell people who live in the Bay Area, they highly are big on pleasure. Yeah. It's a Bay Area.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as always, we have so much fun talking about money and, well, pleasure. And
Yes.
mostly money. I don't know why we talk about money so much. Well, we live in California. What else is there to talk about? Weather?
You're right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. It's hot. There you go.
Right. It's sunny here again.
Yeah, right. Now, I guess if it started snowing, that might be something to talk about, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Even with
Cali, you always know the Cali gals. It's going to be money, and it's sunny. We want sunny money, and we're good.
And pleasure. Mm-hmm.
Pleasure. Yeah, definitely sunny money and pleasure. There you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody for to get to this edition of the Iolande Argent Show. And you can find Miss Briana Cavanaugh over here. You can find her at blissyomani.com. And you can get some pleasure tips and money tips and some 77 other tips and website. She's got a lot of good stuff on the site.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always great to hang out with you.
Now, thank you for coming back again.
Thanks for having me.